Councillor Wilson, would you like to see okay to Councillor Mann? She's next. Councillor Sales in controlling the things. I should warn you that I have gathered and I'm not afraid to use it. I'm searching the door for the black cat. Whilst we wait for Councillor Manning, Councillor Burton, perhaps I could invite you to be quiet by wondering how you feel about being Vice Chairman for the rest of the afternoon. Or would you rather that, okay, yeah, that's the
What happens to us, Mr.
That's alright, I'm really passionate almost. Councillor Williams, did you happen to see Councillor Mann anywhere outside?
We're in trouble.
Right, we're going on, Councillor Kenny, thank you very much. Yes, we are now moving to the fourth motion submitted by Councillor Ian Manning. Councillor Manning, could you please move and speak to your motion that's set out on pages 5 and 6 of the agenda?
I'll try to be quite brief about this. I think it's fairly self-explanatory with this motion. And indeed, building on previous motions, I think it's Councillor Chamber about motions, democracy. The first point just to make, it is mentioned in the briefing note, is about how easy this process is. To try and demonstrate this, we're actually being streamed live right now over the internet by Mr. Taylor and his video camera and a laptop. So this really is very easy to do. I know that it was in 2005, Chair, originally done by a posting service that was removed from cost cutting measure. Times have moved on. I don't think there's a huge much more amount to say about this, but I think it's important that residents are able, even if it's only a small amount of residents who watch, residents are able to see where we all stand and what the new world is. Last year, we have compromised a lot of time. It's still important for residents to know which parties stand for what key issues. And I would really mention one very brief story to close about how residents can be. We all know in the heat of the campaigning, sometimes opposition people will just have leaflets that say that something has been said in some meeting. As a result, this happened recently in my division, and as a result of Mr. Taylor streaming the City Council meeting, I was out here to have a leaflet saying, actually, this wasn't what was said, and even if you don't want to believe me, here's the video, and you can see for yourself. And a large number of residents then contacted me to say that they'd actually looked at that video and seen what had happened. So I hope we can support this. It's a very low cost measure, and I hope it will give us a little bit more interaction with our electorate. So please vote for this measure.
Thank you, Councillor Manning. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak now, or do you want to reserve your right to speak?
I reserve my right to speak.
Councillor Cash.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm glad to see this motion in front of us, and I wholeheartedly support this motion. You'll be pleased to hear. Cutting out the interface between what we do and the public is vital. There are too many times when we stand here and we stand up for ideals and we say what we say, and then the press get hold of it and they cherry pick and they make us out to be the bad guys every single time, or bad ladies. I know it's not so bad people. But the point is, those people that are interested in politics, in what we do, will have unfettered access to what we actually do. And I think that's important, because that filter, the media filter, does not always work in the best interest of the public. If they have a go at me, I'm not too worried. I get out there, I meet the public, I believe it's not true, all I've said, and I generally try and end up in a positive place, and so far I've survived, so maybe that's a positive thing. But not everybody has the same opportunities all the time, certainly in the more rural areas. We are in a world that is moving forward, and I see this revolution as being in the right direction. We've seen it come about at Parliament, and unfortunately, it hasn't really moderated their behaviour. very valuable in the future selection of candidates, whether you want people to stand again. I also believe that should I wish to stand again, this will be a useful tool in election. That will be one maybe cherry picked moment of my entire history. I hope. And that would be an extra tool. Now, in the past, there were costs associated, so I can fully understand why this was quite low mark. I do believe that the requirement for a member of staff to stand with the camera and handle that is absolute. It has to be done. It cannot be picked up by the people here. They have other duties. And to miss those other duties by manipulating the camera has to stay on the person speaking generally, unless somebody else is doing something incredibly important that needs reporting back to the public, such as Sydney. Just bear with me 1 second, because I made some notes, and as usual, I can't really say.
This is being recorded.
That brings me on to a very nice other point, time wasting. That has the potential to cut down time wasting and to cut down the grandstanding. And in order not to waste any more time, I will be supporting this motion.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Whilst I have absolutely no issue with the filming and transmitting, I do have a slight issue with the wording of the motion. It's actually the second bullet point in the council resolves to, which is, as far as I'm aware, I'm quite happy for you to tell me I'm wrong, since you're chairman of the Constitution Ethics Committee, not the chair of this meeting. Only full council can amend the Constitution. Therefore, how can we vote yes for that second bullet point?
I'm taking legal advice. The legal advice is that perhaps the proposer might wish to amend this element of it.
I'm happy to. Maybe we can point out that I was told to put it.
Are you proposing to delete that paragraph?
The problem is that you can't use the whole paragraph to put that basic relevance. If the issue is that it has to come back, if the issue, Chair, that it should be the full council decide, in which case it would be the Constitution Ethics Committee. That comma can be deleted and just says, so it just read as to have the individual voting records of councils published on the council's website. Would that be acceptable?
I think that what would be acceptable is for you either to remove the paragraph or to suggest that the committee recommends to council.
Thank the council on the time you already said that. We change it to recommend.
As an amendment to the original proposal, is council happy to accept that change? Thank you very much. Councillor Brown, does that dispense with your point? Thank you. Councillor Bullock.
Thank you, Chairman. I commend Councillor Mann for bringing this to council. We're very much in favour of openness and transparency, and I believe that this will bring this. I did hear the words about we need a member of staff to look at it, so I do believe maybe we should look at the fact we have a member of the communications team in full council anyway. But yes, I'm all for it, and we will be supporting the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Alexander.
Thank you, Chair. My question is more a bit of information. I just need more clarity in respect of that the motion states that a member of the communications team of democratic services could carry out the camera operation. But then in the briefing note that we were given on page 6, it states in the bottom paragraph that this would require a dedicated member of staff to carry out the filming. So how is that going to be done, and how's the cost of that being taken care of?
Councillor Manning, do you want to refer to that in your summing up?
all for openness and transparency. I am just a little concerned, having just got used to using a video camera over the last couple of years, I would advise members that this is not necessarily an easy job. Whoever we get to do this will be criticised. Do we want them to video the whole of the meeting, every single minute of the meeting, so that members can actually look at that, and the length of this meeting's gone on pretty long as it is, and find out whether they've been properly reported or whether it has been edited out? A comment was made earlier that the press are selective, I'll use that term, are selective in what they do. Well, of course they have to. They are subject to editing the same as anybody else. And indeed, video recording of the House of Commons is very much subject to editing. You cannot upload to YouTube every single minute of a council meeting, because the people who potentially see it on YouTube would just go, boring, and that was at the end of it. So whoever is going to do this video needs to have a professional approach and needs to be properly trained. It's no good videoing from back there, because all you're seeing is back councillors' heads. So there are some practical difficulties with this. There are some costs involved, and as has been mentioned, we cannot take democratic services staff and other staff away from their proper duties to do this job. So we're going to have somebody dedicated, and we're going to have them trained in camera use, and there may well be some more electricity that needs to give a live feed to YouTube or however you're going to do it. So this is not without practical difficulties, it's not without cost, but do not believe that just by having this chamber video, even if it's over the whole 4 or 5 hours of the meeting, it is going to improve transparency and it is going to improve democracy. There will always be people who want to, as it were, play to the camera. I do not believe that it's going to stop time wasting. I do not believe it's going to stop some of the things that do go wrong. And this chamber is pretty good, and I would agree with Councillor Cameron. This chamber is pretty good in terms of actually discipline in debate. So, yes, I'm not going to vote against this motion, but I am really concerned about the technical implications that need to be carried out in terms of making it work and doing it properly.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. I find it hard to believe you think that people at Cambridgeshire will be bored by watching our Councillor Duchess.
Thank you, Chairman. As with many of the votes we've had today, this is a free vote for my group. The first thing is, I want to say that I recognise the value of what Richard does in terms of filming meetings and actually, proving the point that Councillor Manning has made, which is that you can do it at virtually no cost. But virtually no cost is the important bit, and that's the important bit. And I welcome the fact that Richard does what he does. He's hard work sometimes. I often don't agree with him, but actually he does keep us on our toes, and I think that's important. However, the reason I have an issue with this is not because technologically it's possible. We've just had a fantastic response from our consultation with staff over changes to paying conditions. A great response. A lot of hard work went into it. We promised staff that they would see their own views reflected back in the final deal, and actually we got the right response back. We got the right response. What message does this send to our staff when we're laying people off, and then we as councillors say it's okay to tie somebody up, holding a video camera and pointing it around this chamber at full council meetings? It's not at no cost, it's a member of staff's time. The notion that you can just take a communications team and take away from what is quite a busy day for Mark actually in doing things like updating Twitter, which are important too, and then forms of social media, and actually liaising with the media that are around him as well, to say, well, at the same time, you can operate this camera. He has only got 2 hands, and that solution is not practical. You are going to have to tie up a member of staff's time to do that. I think it sends the wrong signal to our staff. That's the issue. In another time, and with a different funding situation, I would support this wholeheartedly. I've always supported this with being as open as we can in our council chamber. It's why I supported the live tweeting. It's why I supported the openness we've had around filming. But, if Richard wants to come along and film us, we should absolutely welcome it. But we have to think twice, and this is why I will support it. We have to think twice about tying up members of staff to do tasks like that when we're actually laying people off.
Thank you. Councillor Sales.
No.
Thank you. Councillor Manager,
Thank you, Chair. Very quickly, just a couple of points on this. I think, yes, it's very laudable to be transparent and to feel what's happening in this chamber, but it should be at no cost to either officer time or expenditure. Can we not do it with some sort of webcam up there and appropriate recording equipment, or could we just buy Mark lunch and get him to feed the stream into our system and do it that way?
Thank you. Councillor
Thank you, Chair. Just coming back to what Councillor Mason was saying, I think if we're going to do it properly, we film the whole meeting. Coming back on what Councillor Curtis was saying about start time, maybe more than one camera is the answer here. That way there will be no staff who will be pointing in all directions. Personally, right at the moment, I think it's in just the right position, and I'm very happy with it.
Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Some of the points that have already been made, I share some of the concerns that have been expressed around the chamber from all directions. My only one suggestion actually is that I thought one actually quite thoughtfully would be useful, and then I could actually buy a wig. And then I wouldn't be seen. But I have got some serious concerns about the costs, about how it's monitored, how it progresses. And if we're going to do it, well, let's do it. And let's think about how best to do it, what all the implications for it. The principles are sound, but I think it does need a little bit more thought. Thank you.
I work with TV on current stairs. To do a chamber this size, you need 4 cameras. You need lights, you might need makeup. Otherwise, we look like ghosts. The other thing is, I'm a member of it, and I want to be paid. It's not easy. As cameramen are very expensive and very special. It's not an easy job. But as I say, to do it here, it would be very, very difficult. It would cost. You need lights for certain. Absolutely certain. A video camera picks up a lot more light than film does, television film. But you definitely need 4 cameras and lights. It's a big undertaking. And as I said, I am a director and I expect to be paid.
We've noted that, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Taylor, reserve the right to speak. No other speakers. Councillor Thomas.
Right. Thank you, Chair. I'd like to address my remarks to the part of the motion which deals with the recording of votes. When I arrived in this chamber, I noticed we had these fancy voting machines which don't always seem to work perfectly, but they do have the benefit that they record the way that we all vote on particular issues, whether it's for, against, or an abstain. And it's a simple proposal in here, just to enable that information to be recorded on the council's website so that an elector seeking how to cast his or her vote at election time or throughout the year can see how their particular council voted on a particular issue. I think that would be an improvement in the democratic process, just in the interests of openness and transparency. And I fully support the idea of having the video stream in the chamber as well, within financial constraints. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Manning, to sum up.
Thank you, Chair. Just to try and address some of the points that have been raised. On Councillor Sanders' point, obviously the bullet point that mentions a member of the communications team, etc., is not in the resolution. So the resolution is simply to implement the feed. So if that was a very serious concern from happening like that, it could be met by somebody. Councillor Gillick's point about needing 4 cameras, there's 1 camera there and we're managing to do it right now. So I don't know where the gap between the reality of the 1 camera and the 4 cameras is, but nonetheless the point is It's perfectly possible done. Rich has done it on numerous occasions and at numerous meetings. Councillor Mason's comment about House of Commons is all recorded actually. I'm not quite sure. Possibly we were talking about searching on YouTube, that's because someone's uploaded that thing to YouTube. But the actual whole of the House of Commons is the whole debate stream. I agree with the speaker, I can't remember who it was, but it's absolutely vital. The whole meeting is recorded. That's the point of this. Councillor Curtis's objection, I think, was probably the most substantial. I think what we're talking about here is cost benefit, aren't we? Before, I think the cost was around 40,000 actually the house costing. So this at the most will have one member of staff, and the benefit is to the wider public. So to me, even if you had to employ somebody who isn't here, you would not have to employ a professional camera operator. You would employ someone at a very cheap rate for what we're talking about 6 hours, even if we have an allegedly long council meeting. I think it's perfectly achievable and it gives us a strong benefit and the public will get to see what's going on. I think the cost is tiny compared to the benefit we have to do. I think there's Mr. Finally Chair Councillor Bandit the Code's point again relates to bullet point 1, which is just that what this is saying is let's go and do it. It's not specifying an exact method which could tie us down to various ways. So I would encourage all the councils that, and the one I want to make out is that, yes, as Councillor Curtis said, Richard does do this a lot, and services, as Councillor Curtis sometimes challenging, but in general good. But the point is that I asked the Commonwealth specifically to demonstrate how easy it was to do. I can't expect us to turn up for every single meeting for free, and the minimal cost involved, I think, and the benefit to local democracy. The benefit to local democracy vastly outweighs the minimal cost involved and the benefit to the voters, so I would encourage everyone to support this measure.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. We'll move to a vote now, please. Mrs. Rowe.
Would members please press the button marked present? Members in favour of the motion, please press the button marked yes. Members against the motion, please press the button marked no. Members wishing to abstain, please press the button marked abstain. I'm now closing the vote. Chairman, the result of the vote is 46 votes in favour, 14 against, 2 abstentions. The motion is therefore carried.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. We now move to the fifth motion, submitted by Councillor Burke. Can I ask Councillor Burke to move and speak to his motion as set out on pages 6, 7 and 8 of the Council agenda? Councillor Burke, I think you are going to propose a small amendment to your motion for which I need to seek permission of Council to accept that amendment. Is Councillor agreeable?
I am.
Thank you. Councillor Burke.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Leahy is going to second the motion. Hartworth Hospital is, as the briefing note sets out, the UK's largest specialist cardiothoracic hospital.